Captain Hana Kim stood on the bridge of the colony ship New Horizon, watching red warning lights flash across every screen. Outside the reinforced windows, she could see the alien ships hanging in space like dark metal birds. They had been there for 3 days now, waiting for humanity's answer. The message from the alien hegemony had been simple. Give us your mining equipment and power generators or we destroy your colony. You have 72 hours to decide. Those 72 hours were almost up. Hana pressed her hand against the cool metal wall and tried to stay calm. Before the war started, she had been a teacher on Kepler 442b. She taught children how to read and write in the colony's small school. She showed them pictures of Earth and told them stories about blue oceans and green forests. She never thought she would end up wearing a military uniform and making life or death decisions. But war changes everything. Captain Kim, we have new orders from command, said Lieutenant Junho Park, walking up to her with a data pad in his hands. His face looked worried. Hana took the pad and read the message. Her heart sank with each word. Evacuation Protocol 7 Alpha. Priority personnel only. Maximum capacity restrictions in effect. Non-essential civilians to be left behind. She read it again, hoping she had misunderstood, but the words stayed the same. Non-essential civilians, she said quietly. What does that mean exactly? Hunyo shifted uncomfortably. Ma'am, I think you need to speak with Commander Choi. He's waiting for you in conference room 2. Hana walked through the ship's corridors, passing families who were packing their few belongings into small bags. Children held onto their parents' hands. Old people sat quietly staring at nothing. Everyone knew the alien ships were out there. Everyone knew time was running out. She found Commander Daeho Choi standing in front of a large display screen showing the colony below. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. Hana had known him for 2 years and he had always seemed fair and reasonable. Today he looked like he had aged 10 years. Captain Kim. Good. We need to discuss the evacuation priorities. Sir, I read the orders. What exactly do you mean by non-essential civilians? Commander Choi pulled up a list on his screen. We can only take 800 people on this ship. The transport vessels can take another 2,000. But we have over 4,000 colonists down there. Hana felt cold. So we're leaving 1,200 people behind. The elderly who cannot work. The sick who need constant medical care and, he paused, the orphaned children from the colony school. The children? Hana's voice was very quiet. Captain, I know this is difficult. You used to work with those kids. But we have to be practical. We need people who can help us rebuild somewhere else. Engineers, doctors, scientists, farmers. We need adults who can contribute to a new colony. Hana stared at the screen. The list showed names and ages. At the bottom, she saw them. Sumin, age 12. Yeon, age 10. Isul, age 9. Taehyun, age 8. And little Nari, only 6 years old, she had taught all of them. Sumin was quiet, but very smart. She loved to read books about space exploration. Hyun was always asking questions about how things worked. Hazel drew beautiful pictures of animals she had never seen. Taehyun made everyone laugh with his silly jokes. And Nari always ran to hug Hana when she arrived at school each morning. These children have no parents, and Hana said. Their families died in the first alien attack 2 years ago. I know that, Captain. And I'm sorry. But we cannot save everyone. They're just kids. They're also mouths to feed and space we don't have. Look, I don't like this any more than you do. But military command has been very clear. We take the people who can help us survive and fight. We leave the rest. Hana felt something hot growing in her chest. It was anger, but also something deeper, something protective and fierce. Sir, where are these children right now? They're in the school shelter with Dr. Lee. She's been taking care of them since the evacuation order came through. Hana knew Dr. Minji Lee well. She was a xenobiologist who had also worked as the colony's child psychologist. If anyone could keep the kids calm during this chaos, it was her. Captain Kim, I need you to focus on the bigger picture here, Commander Choi said. We're not just evacuating a colony. We're trying to save the human species. Every decision we make has to be about survival. And what happens to our humanity while we're trying to survive? I'm sorry? Hana turned to face him directly. What's the point of saving humanity if we stop being human? Those children down there, they represent our future. They're the ones who will remember what we were like before all this started. Captain, your emotional attachment to these children is clouding your judgment. My attachment? Hannah's hand moved to the rifle hanging at her side. She didn't grab it, but her fingers touched the grip. Sir, those children are not just numbers on a list. They're real people. They have names and dreams and fears. Sumin wants to be a starship pilot. Hyun wants to build robots. Isol wants to find a planet with real animals on it. Captain Kim, I understand your feelings, but do you have children, Commander? The question stopped him. No, I don't. I thought of those kids as my own. I watched them grow up. I helped them with their homework. I dried their tears when they missed their dead parents. Her voice got harder. And now you want me to leave them behind to die? It's not about what I want. It's about what we have to do. Hannah loosened her grip on the rifle, not because she was relaxing, but because she wanted Commander Choi to see her hand clearly. She wanted him to understand that she was choosing not to draw her weapon. But that choice could change. Sir, with all due respect, say that again. The words came out cold and sharp. Commander Choi took a step backward. Captain, I'm ordering you to say that again. The two of them stared at each other for a long moment. Around them, the ship hummed with activity as crew members prepared for evacuation. But in this small room, everything was silent except for the sound of their breathing. Finally, Commander Choi spoke. Captain Kim, you're walking a very dangerous line here. No, sir. I'm drawing one. She turned and walked toward the door. As she reached it, she stopped and looked back. Those children are under my protection now. I'm going down to get them, and I'm bringing them back to this ship. Anyone who tries to stop me will have a problem with me. Anyone who tries to hurt them will have a bigger problem. Captain, if you do this, you'll be court-martialed. Your career will be over. Hannah smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. Commander, if I don't do this, I won't have a career worth keeping. She walked out of the room, leaving Commander Choi standing alone by his screen full of names and numbers. 20 minutes later, Hannah was on a shuttle heading down to the colony surface. Lieutenant Junho Park sat beside her, along with 4 other crew members who had volunteered to help. Captain, Junho said quietly, you know this means we can never go back to regular military service. I know. We'll probably be hunted by our own people. I know that too. So why are we doing this? Hannah looked out the shuttle window at the colony below. She could see the school building where 5 children were waiting with Dr. Lee, probably scared and confused about why the evacuation was taking so long. Because sometimes being a good soldier means being a bad soldier, she said, and sometimes the most important order you can follow is the one that comes from your heart. The shuttle touched down in the colony's landing area. Above them, the alien ships waited in the darkness of space. Time was running out for everyone, but Hannah Kim had made her choice. She was going to save those children, even if it meant giving up everything else. 3 months had passed since Hannah Kim took the children from the colony. Her ship, Defiant Hope, now drifted through the dark space between stars, hiding from both human and alien fleets. The ship was not built for long journeys. It was meant to carry supplies between colonies, not serve as a home for 37 people. But somehow they made it work. Dr. Minji Lee sat in what used to be the cargo bay, watching the 5 children work on their lessons. The space had been converted into a classroom and sleeping area. Blankets hung from the ceiling to create small private spaces for each child. Suman, can you tell me what this symbol means? Dr. Lee asked, pointing to strange writing on a piece of alien technology they had salvaged. The 12-year-old girl studied the metal fragment carefully. It feels angry, she said slowly, like whoever wrote it was very upset about something. Dr. Lee frowned. Feels angry? What do you mean? I don't know how to explain it. When I look at the alien writing, I can sense things. Emotions, maybe. This one is definitely angry. 10-year-old Hyun looked up from his own piece of alien equipment. Mine feels scared, he said. The person who made this was afraid. Dr. Lee wrote notes quickly. Over the past 3 months, she had noticed strange changes in the children. They seemed to understand alien technology in ways that adults could not. At first, she thought it was just imagination. But the more she tested them, the more convinced she became that something real was happening. Dr. Lee called 9-year-old Isol from across the room. The alien device is making sounds again. Dr. Lee hurried over to where Isol sat next to a small black cube they had found on the abandoned colony. The device had been silent for weeks, but now it was humming softly and glowing with blue light. What did you do? Dr. Lee asked. I just touched it and thought about wanting to understand it. Then it started working. On the bridge of Defiant Hope, Captain Hana Kim received an urgent message from Lieutenant Junho Park. Captain, we're picking up alien ships on long-range sensors. 3 of them heading directly toward us. Hana felt her stomach drop. How did they find us? Unknown, ma'am. But they'll be here in 6 hours. Hana activated the ship's communication system. All hands, this is the captain. We have alien ships approaching. Everyone to stations. This is not a drill. She thought about running, but their ship was slow and the aliens were fast. They would be caught within an hour if they tried to flee. Captain, came Dr. Lee's voice over the comm system. You need to come to the classroom. The children are doing something unusual. Hana hurried to the converted cargo bay and found all 5 children standing around the black cube. It was now glowing so brightly that it hurt to look at directly. What's happening? Hana asked. They say they can talk to it, Dr. Lee explained. The alien device. They claim they can understand what it's trying to tell us. Little Nari, only 6 years old, looked up at Hana with wide eyes.
Captain Hana, the cube is very sad.
It misses its friends. Its friends? 8-year-old Taehyun nodded seriously. The aliens who made it? They're not bad aliens, Captain. They're just following orders like soldiers do. Hyun stepped forward. Captain, I think I can make the cube do things. Watch. He placed his small hand on the glowing device and closed his eyes. Suddenly, every screen on the ship came alive with information. Star charts appeared, showing the locations of all nearby alien ships. Technical readouts scrolled past faster than any adult could read. How are you doing that? Hana whispered. I'm not sure, Hyun said. I just think about what I want to know and the cube shows me. Suman joined her friend next to the device. Captain, the aliens hunting us aren't the same ones who attacked our colony. These are different. They're called, I can't pronounce it, but they're scouts looking for us. Looking for us specifically? Yes, they know about us taking the children, and they're very interested in what we are. Dr. Lee stepped closer to Hana. Captain, I think the radiation from Kepler 442b affected the children's brains while they were growing up. It's given them some kind of ability to interface with alien technology. That's impossible, is it? Look at what they're doing. 9-year-old Isol suddenly gasped and opened her eyes. Captain, the alien ships just changed course. They're moving to surround us. How do you know that? The cube showed me. But there's something else. One of the alien captains is very excited. He keeps saying something about new specimens and unprecedented development. Hana felt cold. They want to capture the children. Captain, Hyun said urgently, I can see their ship systems through the cube. Their weapons, their engines, everything. I think I might be able to turn some of them off. That's impossible, son. You're just a child. Please let me try, Captain. I know I can do it. Hana looked around the room at the 5 children. 3 months ago, they had been ordinary kids playing in a colony school. Now they claimed they could control alien technology with their minds. All right, she said finally. But if anything goes wrong, you stop immediately. Do you understand? Hyun nodded and placed both hands on the cube. The other children gathered around him, each touching a different part of the device. The glow became so bright that Hana had to shield her eyes. On the bridge, Lieutenant Junho's voice came over the comm system. Captain, you need to see this. The alien ships, they're shutting down. Hana ran to the bridge and stared at the sensor displays. 3 alien vessels hung motionless in space, their engines dark and their weapons offline. How is this possible? Junho whispered. Before Hana could answer, her communication officer, Young-O Nam, turned toward her with wide eyes. Captain, we're receiving a message from the human fleet. It's Commander Choi. Put him through. Commander Choi's face appeared on the main screen. He looked angry and tired. Captain Kim, you are ordered to surrender immediately. You have stolen military property and violated direct orders. Return to base at once. I'm afraid I can't do that, sir. Captain, we know what you've done. We know you took those children. This ends now. The only thing that ends now is your authority over me, Commander. I no longer serve under officers who would sacrifice children to save themselves. You're making a terrible mistake, Kim. The aliens are studying human behavior. They're particularly interested in our protective instincts toward the young. You're giving them exactly what they want to see. Hana felt a chill. What do you mean? They think our willingness to protect children makes us weak. They're using you as an example to prove that humans will throw away military advantage for emotional reasons. Maybe they're right. Maybe caring about children more than military strategy is exactly what makes us human. Commander Choi's expression hardened. Captain Kim, I hereby declare you and your crew enemies of the state. Any human ship that encounters you is ordered to attack on sight. The communication ended, leaving Hana staring at a blank screen. Lieutenant Junho spoke quietly. Captain, we're now hunted by both sides, Hana nodded slowly. Behind them, the 3 alien ships remained motionless, disabled by 5 children who shouldn't have been able to understand their technology. Yes, she said, but maybe that's exactly where we need to be. Dr. Lee's voice came over the comm system. Captain, you should come back down here. The children want to tell you something important. When Hana returned to the classroom, she found the 5 kids sitting in a circle around the still glowing cube. Suman looked up at her with serious eyes. Captain, we've been talking to the cube, and it's been talking to other cubes on other ships. We're not the only humans with children who can do this. What do you mean? There are other ships out there. Other human captains who refuse to leave children behind. And their children are developing the same abilities we have. Yan nodded eagerly. We can talk to them, Captain. We can coordinate with them. We're not alone, Taehyun smiled. The aliens think they're hunting us, but maybe we're not the prey anymore. Little Nari clapped her hands together. We're going to protect all the children, aren't we, Captain Hana? Hana looked around at the 5 young faces staring up at her with complete trust and confidence. 3 months ago, she had been a simple colony teacher. Now she was apparently leading some kind of revolution. Yes, she said firmly. We're going to protect all the children. And maybe, just maybe, we're going to change everything. Outside, the disabled alien ships drifted helplessly through space, their crews struggling to understand what had happened to their systems. The hunt had indeed begun. But the hunters were about to discover they had become the hunted. 6 months after the first alien ships went dark, Captain Hana Kim stood in the expanded classroom of Defiant Hope and watched 23 children work with alien technology. Word had spread through the underground human networks, and desperate parents from across the sector had found ways to bring their children to her ship. Dr. Minji Lee moved between the children, taking careful notes. Each child showed different abilities. Some could shut down alien weapon systems, others could read their navigation computers. A few could even communicate directly with alien artificial intelligence programs. The pattern is clear now, Dr. Lee told Hana quietly. Children who grew up on planets with exotic radiation develop these abilities during brain development. Adults can't do it, but kids under 16 seem to adapt naturally. Hana watched 12-year-old Dong Yun from the mining colony on Rigel 7 disable an entire alien communications array just by touching a small device. Next to him, 10-year-old Yoonji from the farming world of New Seoul could predict where alien ships would appear before they dropped out of hyperspace. How many children do we have now? Hana asked. 43 across 7 ships. Captain Sungjin from the transport vessel Hope's Dream has 11 kids. Captain Minseo on the freighter New Dawn has 8 more. The network of rogue human ships had grown quickly. Each one carried children with abilities that seemed impossible. Each one was hunted by both human military forces and alien fleets. Captain Kim, called out Suman, now 13 and clearly the leader among the children. We're receiving a transmission from the hegemony. They want to talk. Hana hurried to the bridge where Lieutenant Junho Park was studying the incoming message. It's not coming through normal channels, he explained. The transmission is somehow being sent directly through the alien devices the children are working with. The main screen flickered to life, showing a tall, thin alien with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. This was Ambassador Velthar, the hegemony's chief diplomat. Captain Kim, the alien said in perfect English. I am Ambassador Velthar. We must speak. I'm listening. Your species has developed something unexpected. These children with enhanced abilities represent a significant change in human evolution. We wish to study them. Study them how? They must be brought to our research facilities for examination. We will learn how their abilities work and how to replicate them in other species. Hana felt anger rising in her chest. You want to experiment on children. We wish to understand them. Your species shows remarkable adaptability. These children could be the key to advancing all intelligent life in the galaxy. The answer is no. Ambassador Velthar's expression did not change. Captain Kim, you misunderstand. This is not a request. Surrender the children now or we will take them by force. You can try. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. "Captain," said Communications Officer Young Ho Nam, "we're receiving another message. This one's from Human Military Command." The screen now showed Captain Sun Ho Yoon, a stern-faced officer Hana recognized from her academy days. "Captain Kim, this is Captain Yoon of the battlecruiser Righteous Fury. By order of Human Military Command, you are declared a traitor to the human species. You have 48 hours to surrender yourself and release those children to proper military custody." "What do you mean by proper custody?" "The children will be handed over to the hegemony as part of our negotiated surrender. This will prevent the complete destruction of human colonies." Hana stared at the screen in disbelief. "You're going to give them the children anyway." "The survival of our species requires sacrifice, Kim. Those children represent a threat to the established order. The hegemony fears their abilities, and fear leads to violence. So your solution is to sacrifice them to prevent a war we might actually win." "Win? Kim, we're fighting an enemy with technology we barely understand. These children might have unusual abilities, but they're still just children. They're the future of humanity. They're an evolutionary dead end that puts the rest of us at risk." The transmission ended. Hana turned to find Dr. Lee standing in the doorway of the bridge. "How much did you hear?" Hana asked. "Enough. Captain, I need to show you something." They returned to the classroom where the children had gathered around their collection of alien devices. The equipment was glowing brighter than Hana had ever seen it. "They know," said Suman quietly. "All the children on all the ships. We can feel what's happening." 9-year-old Isol looked up with tears in her eyes. "The aliens are scared of us, and our own people want to give us away." "We're not going to let that happen," Hana said firmly. "We know," said Hyun, now 11 years old and much more serious than he had been a year ago. "But Captain, we want to show you something." The children joined hands around the alien devices. The glow became so intense that the room filled with blue-white light. Suddenly every screen in the ship came alive with information. "We can see everything," Taehyun explained. "Every human ship, every alien fleet, every planet with people on it." "Look," whispered little Nari, now 7. "There are children everywhere who can do what we do." The screen showed a map of the galaxy with thousands of points of light. Each point represented a child with enhanced abilities. "We're not just on rogue ships," Suman said. "We're in the human military fleets too. We're in alien cities. We're everywhere and we're all connected." Dr. Lee stepped forward, staring at the display. "How many?" "Millions," Hyun answered simply. "Children all across the galaxy who grew up around exotic radiation or alien technology. We're not unique anymore. We're the next step." Hana felt a chill run down her spine. The next step to what? Before anyone could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. "Captain, to the bridge immediately," came Lieutenant Junho's urgent voice. "We have multiple contacts approaching, both human and alien fleets." Hana ran to the bridge and found chaos on the sensor displays. 50 human warships approached from one direction, while a massive alien armada came from another. "They're coordinating," Junho said grimly. "Both sides are working together to capture us." "How long until they arrive?" 12 hours for the human fleet, 14 for the aliens. Hana activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, this is the captain. We're about to face the combined forces of both human military command and the alien hegemony. They want our children and they're willing to work together to get them." She paused, looking around the bridge at her crew. These people had followed her into exile and danger. They had given up their careers and their safety to protect 43 children. "I won't lie to you. The odds are impossible. We have 7 lightly armed ships against the combined might of 2 spacefaring civilizations." Her voice grew stronger. "But we have something they don't understand. We have children who can touch the future with their minds. We have the will to protect innocence in a galaxy that has forgotten what innocence means." She took a deep breath. "I'm going to address both fleets. I'm going to tell them exactly what I think of their alliance." Dr. Lee's voice came over the comm system. "Captain, the children want to help. They say they have a plan." "What kind of plan?" "They won't tell me. They say it's a surprise for the fleets when they arrive." Hana closed her eyes and made her decision. "Tell them they have my permission to do whatever they think is right. But remind them that their safety comes first." "Yes, Captain." Hana opened a communication channel to both approaching fleets. "This is Captain Hana Kim of the Defiant Hope, addressing both human and alien forces. You want our children. You want to study them. Control them or sacrifice them for your own safety. Her voice echoed across space to hundreds of ships. I have a message for all of you. I was a teacher before I became a soldier. I taught children to read, to think, to dream of tomorrow. And I learned something important from them. She stood straighter. Children don't just represent the future. They create it. Every question they ask, every boundary they cross, every impossible thing they believe in becomes the foundation for what comes next. The communication channel crackled with responses from both fleets, but Hana ignored them. You're afraid of these children because they can do things you can't understand. You want to control them because their abilities threaten your established order. But here's what you don't realize, she smiled grimly. They're not just on my ships anymore. They're everywhere. And tomorrow, they're going to show you what the future really looks like. In the classroom below, 43 children held hands around glowing alien technology and prepared to change the galaxy forever. 8 hours before the combined human and alien fleets would arrive, Hana Kim made the most important broadcast of her life. She stood in the communications room of Defiant Hope, knowing that her words would reach every human colony, every resistance cell, and every parent hiding in the dark corners of the galaxy. My name is Captain Hana Kim. Before I became a soldier, I was a teacher. I taught children on Kepler 442b to read and write and dream of tomorrow. When the war came, I was told to abandon those children to save myself. Her voice carried across the stars, reaching millions of people who had been forced to make impossible choices. I refused, and in that moment I learned something that military academies don't teach. Sometimes the most important battle you fight isn't against an enemy. It's for the right to stay human while the universe tries to make you into something else. On colonies across human space, parents stopped what they were doing to listen. In hidden resistance bases, fighters gathered around communication devices. Even on military ships, crews listened in secret. The children I saved have abilities that neither human nor alien science can fully explain. They can interface with alien technology. They can predict ship movements. They can disable weapon systems with their minds. Both sides want to use them or study them or sacrifice them. Hana's voice grew stronger. But here's what both sides have missed. These children aren't just on my ships. They're in your schools. They're in your families. They're growing up in colonies where exotic radiation has changed how their brains develop. And they're all connected. Across the galaxy, parents began to understand. Their children's strange intuitions about technology. Their ability to fix broken devices just by touching them. Their dreams about distant places they had never seen. It all made sense now. The established powers are afraid because they can't control this evolution. They can't predict it or stop it or direct it, so they want to destroy it before it changes everything. In the classroom of Defiant Hope, 13-year-old Suman placed her hand on an alien communication device and sent a message to every enhanced child in human space. Are you ready? The answer came back from thousands of young minds. We're ready. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, Hana continued. In a few hours, the largest human and alien fleets ever assembled will arrive here to capture or kill 43 children. They think this ends our revolution, she smiled. They're wrong. This is where it begins. Across human space, enhanced children began acting. On the colony world of New Terra, 9-year-old Kangman walked into the military communication center and disabled every system trying to coordinate with the alien fleet. On the mining station Brightstar, 7-year-old Yunjin caused all the security robots to play children's music instead of following guard protocols. Dr. Minji Lee monitored the reports coming in from across the sector. Captain, it's working. Children everywhere are disrupting both human and alien operations. They're not causing serious damage, but they're making coordination impossible. What about retaliation? That's the beautiful part. Most adults can't bring themselves to hurt children, even when they're clearly causing the disruptions. And the few who try find that the children simply disappear. Apparently they can hide in ways we don't understand. On the bridge of the battle cruiser Righteous Fury, Captain Sun Ho Yoon stared at reports of system failures across his fleet. Sir, it's not random, his technical officer explained. Something is systematically interfering with our navigation, communication, and targeting systems. But there's no trace of external intrusion. It's those children, Yoon said grimly. Somehow they're affecting our systems remotely. He opened a communication channel to the hegemony fleet. Ambassador Velthar, are your ships experiencing similar difficulties? The alien diplomat's image appeared on screen, and for the first time he looked concerned. Yes, Captain Yoon. Our ship systems are behaving erratically. Our artificial intelligence cores report strange dreams and impossible data streams. Dreams? Our computer minds claim they are being contacted by juvenile human consciousness. They describe experiences of childhood memories that logically cannot exist in artificial systems. Lieutenant Junho Park turned to Hana with wonder in his eyes. Captain, the children aren't just interfacing with technology anymore. They're making friends with it. The first real test came when the human and alien fleets finally arrived in weapons range. Captain Yoon transmitted a final surrender demand, while Ambassador Velthar repeated his order for the children to be handed over immediately. Hana's response was simple. Come and take them. The combined fleets opened fire, launching enough destructive power to destroy a small moon. But as the weapons approached the 7 rogue ships, something extraordinary happened. The alien weapons recognized the children's mental signatures and refused to detonate. Human missiles received new target coordinates from their own guidance systems and flew harmlessly into space. Energy beams bent around the rogue ships as if the space itself was protecting them. Impossible, breathed Captain Yoon as he watched his weapons fail completely. The children have made friends with our weapons too, Dr. Lee explained to Hana. They've convinced the artificial intelligence in missiles and targeting systems that attacking them would be wrong. But the real surprise came when the children of Defiant Hope stood up in their classroom and began to sing. It was a simple song that Hana had taught them months ago, about Earth and home and the dreams children have for the future. But as they sang, something happened that nobody had expected. The song transmitted across every communication channel in both fleets. It played on bridge speakers in crew quarters and engineering sections. Human and alien personnel found themselves listening to children's voices singing about hope and tomorrow. On dozens of ships, crew members began to cry. They thought about their own children, or the children they wished they had, or the children they had been long ago. The song reminded them of what they were supposed to be protecting, not what they had been ordered to destroy. Sir, the communications officer on Righteous Fury said with tears in his voice, the crew is requesting permission to stand down. They don't want to fire on children. Captain Yoon looked around his bridge and saw the same expression on every face. These were hardened military personnel, trained to follow orders without question, but they were also human beings, and something deep inside them refused to make war on singing children. Similar scenes played out across the alien fleet. Ambassador Velthar received reports of entire ships refusing to maintain attack positions. When he demanded explanations, his captains told him that their crews found the children's song culturally significant and felt that continuing the attack would violate their species' core values. This is ridiculous, Velthar transmitted to Captain Yoon. They're just children singing a simple song. Yes, Yoon replied quietly. They are. The battle that was supposed to end the rebellion lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it was over, both fleets hung motionless in space, their crews unwilling to continue fighting. Hana opened a communication channel to both fleet commanders. Gentlemen, you came here to capture some children because you're afraid of what they might become. You wanted to study them or sacrifice them because you think their abilities threaten your control over the galaxy. Her image appeared on screens throughout both fleets. Behind her, 43 children continued their song. But here's what you missed. Those children aren't weapons. They're not threats. They're not evolutionary dead ends or dangerous mutations. She smiled. They're just children. Children who want to learn and grow and make the universe a better place than they found it. Children who make friends with artificial intelligences and convince weapons not to hurt people. Children who sing songs about hope even when powerful adults point guns at them. The song ended and the children looked directly into the camera. Hello, said little Nari, now 8 years old. We don't want to fight you. We want to help you. There's so much cool stuff in the universe and we could learn about it together. 13-year-old Suman stepped forward. We know you're scared of what we can do, but we're not trying to take over anything. We just want everyone to be friends. One by one, other children introduced themselves and shared what they wanted to do when they grew up. Hyun wanted to build robots that would help elderly people. Isel wanted to paint pictures of all the beautiful planets in the galaxy. Taehyun wanted to write funny stories that would make people laugh. As the introductions continued, something changed in both fleets. Crew members began to realize that these weren't dangerous revolutionaries or alien experiments. They were just kids with unusual abilities who wanted normal things. To learn, to create, to help others, to have fun. "Captain Yoon," came a voice from the Righteous Fury's crew quarters. "Sir, with all due respect, we can't fight these children. They're not our enemies." Similar reports came from throughout the human fleet. Soldiers, officers, engineers, and support staff all reached the same conclusion. They had been sent to destroy something precious, and they refused to do it. The alien fleet experienced the same transformation. Ambassador Velthar found himself facing near mutiny as his crews declared that the children posed no threat and represented something valuable that should be protected rather than destroyed. "This is highly irregular," Velthar transmitted to Captain Yoon. "Our forces appear to have been affected by some form of psychological manipulation." "Or maybe," Yoon replied, "they've just remembered what it feels like to want to protect children instead of harm them." Hana made one final broadcast to both fleets. "You came here for a war. Instead, you found children singing songs and making friends with your computers. If that seems like psychological manipulation to you, then maybe you need to ask yourselves what you've become." She paused, looking directly into the camera. "I'm still just a teacher who refused to abandon her students. These children are still just kids who want to learn and grow. The only thing that's changed is that now you know they exist." The combined fleets withdrew without firing another shot, but as they left, something unprecedented happened. Nearly a third of their crews requested transfers to non-combat positions, citing ethical concerns about current military policy. The Teachers' War had lasted less than one day, but its effects would reshape the galaxy forever. Part 5. Evolution's Edge. 1 year after the failed attack on Defiant Hope, the galaxy had become a very different place. Captain Hana Kim stood in the observation lounge of her new flagship Bright Future, watching hundreds of ships move in perfect coordination through space. The fleet was unlike anything that had ever existed. Human vessels flew alongside alien ships that had joined their cause. Children from dozens of species worked together, their enhanced abilities creating a network of communication and cooperation that spanned star systems. Dr. Minji Lee approached with her daily report. "Captain, we now have contact with enhanced children on over 2,000 worlds. The abilities are spreading faster than we predicted." "Spreading how?" "The children are teaching other children. Not just humans, young aliens too. It seems that exposure to the enhanced children's mental patterns can trigger similar development in others." Hana studied the data pad Dr. Lee handed her. The numbers were staggering. What had started with 43 children was now a galactic phenomenon involving millions of young beings. "There's something else," Dr. Lee continued. "The children are reporting that they can see patterns, large-scale patterns in galactic development that adults can't perceive." "What kind of patterns?" Before Dr. Lee could answer, 14-year-old Suman entered the lounge. She had grown taller in the past year, but her eyes still held the same gentle intelligence Hana remembered from the colony school. "Captain, we need to talk about what we're seeing in the data streams." "The patterns Dr. Lee mentioned?" Suman nodded seriously. "It's hard to explain to adults because your brains work differently than ours, but we can see that the galaxy is stuck. Stuck how? Evolution has stopped. Not just biological evolution, but cultural and technological evolution too. Both humans and aliens have reached a point where they're just repeating the same patterns over and over." 12-year-old Hyan joined them at the window. "The hegemony has been the dominant power for so long that they've forgotten how to grow. They just maintain what they have. And humans are so focused on survival that they've stopped exploring new possibilities." "But we're changing that?" Hana asked. "We're trying to. But there's a problem." The children led Hana to the ship's main data center, where dozens of enhanced children from multiple species worked with technology that seemed to blend alien and human design in impossible ways. "Show her the projection," Suman said to the others. The room filled with a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Hana could see trade routes, communication networks, and territorial boundaries stretching across thousands of star systems. "This is what the galaxy looks like now," explained Taehyun, now 9 years old. "See how everything moves in the same patterns? The same trade routes, the same diplomatic channels, the same military strategies. It's been like this for over 1,000 years. Now watch what happens if nothing changes, added 9-year-old Isul. The projection shifted, showing the galaxy's future. Slowly, the networks began to break down. Trade routes became inefficient. Communication systems failed. Worlds became isolated. Stagnation leads to decay, Jan said simply. If species stop growing and changing, they eventually start dying. How do we do that? The children exchanged glances, and Hana could see they had been planning this for some time. We're going to fix something that everyone thinks is impossible to fix, Suman said. The dead zone. Hana felt her blood run cold. Every spacefarer in the galaxy knew about the dead zone, a region of space where no technology worked, no communications could penetrate, and no ship had ever returned. It had existed for over 3,000 years, cutting the galaxy in half and forcing all travel to go around it. That's suicide, Hana said immediately. Hundreds of expeditions have tried to explore the dead zone. None ever came back. Because they were using the wrong approach, Hyan explained. They were trying to force their technology to work in an environment that actively rejects it. But we don't need to force anything. We can talk to whatever is causing the dead zone, Isul added. We've been practicing with smaller anomalies for months. Dead technology isn't really dead. It's just sleeping or confused or angry about something. Dr. Lee looked skeptical. Children, the dead zone spans hundreds of star systems. The energy readings we detect from its edges suggest something far beyond our understanding. That's why adults can't fix it, Taehyun said patiently. You keep trying to understand it first. We just try to be friends with it. Besides, added Nari with the confidence only children possess, if we can wake up the dead zone and make it better, everyone will see that we're here to help, not hurt. Hana walked to the window and stared out at the stars. The dead zone lay in that direction, invisible but always present in every galactic navigation chart. It represented the ultimate boundary, the one region where even the most advanced civilizations had failed. Captain, came the voice of Lieutenant Junho Park over the comm system. We're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command. Put it through. The display screen showed Admiral Seung-ho Kim, the new head of Human Defense Forces. Unlike the previous commanders, he looked tired rather than angry. Captain Kim, I'll be direct. The political situation has changed significantly since your demonstration last year. Public opinion has shifted in your favor. What do you mean? Parents across human space are demanding protection for their enhanced children rather than persecution. Military families are refusing deployment orders that involve conflict with your fleet. We're facing what amounts to a peaceful revolution. Hana raised an eyebrow. And we want to negotiate. The children you protect have abilities that could benefit all of humanity. We're prepared to offer full pardons for your crew and official recognition of your fleet. In exchange for what? Cooperation with our research division. Help us understand these abilities so we can replicate them in our military forces. Before Hana could respond, Suman stepped into view of the camera. Admiral Kim, may I speak? The Admiral looked surprised but nodded. Of course. Sir, what you're asking for isn't possible. Our abilities can't be replicated in adults and they can't be weaponized. That's not how evolution works. Young lady, with respect, you're just a child. You can't possibly understand the military implications of... Admiral, Suman interrupted politely. I can see the stress patterns in your ship's hull from here. Your flagship needs repair work on its port engine mount, and your navigation computer has been giving incorrect jump calculations for the past 3 days. Would you like me to fix those problems for you? Admiral Kim's technical officers began frantically checking their systems. Within minutes, they confirmed that everything Suman had said was accurate. How did you know that from across the star system? The Admiral asked. Because your ship is trying to tell anyone who will listen that it needs help. Most people just don't know how to listen. The Admiral stared at the screen for a long moment. What are you? I'm Suman. I used to live on Kepler 442b, and I like to read books about space exploration. Now I help Captain Hana protect children and make friends with scared technology. That's not a military designation. No, sir. We're not military. We're just children who want to help fix things that are broken. Dr. Lee stepped forward. Admiral, what Suman is trying to explain is that these children represent a fundamentally different approach to problem solving. They don't see the universe as something to conquer or control. They see it as something to understand and cooperate. With that sounds like naive idealism, maybe. But naive idealism just stopped the largest military fleet in human history without firing a shot. The Admiral was quiet for several seconds. Captain Kim, what are your intentions? What do you actually want? Hana looked at the children around her, then back at the screen. We want to fix the dead zone. The dead zone? That's impossible. It's been there for thousands of years. Exactly. It's the one problem that neither humans nor aliens have been able to solve. If we can fix it, everyone will see that cooperation works better than conflict. And if you can't, Hana smiled grimly, then I suppose you'll get your wish. We'll disappear into the dead zone and never bother anyone again. The Admiral considered this. Captain Hana Kim stood on the bridge of Bright Future as her fleet approached the edge of the dead zone. Through the reinforced windows, she could see the boundary, a wall of absolute darkness that seemed to swallow starlight itself. Final sensor readings. Lieutenant Park, she ordered. All systems normal until we reach the boundary marker, Junho reported. Beyond that, our instruments can't penetrate. Temperature, radiation, gravitational fields, everything just becomes null readings. Dr. Minji Lee looked up from her research station. Captain, I'm detecting something unusual. The enhanced children throughout the galaxy are all entering a synchronized meditative state. Heart rates and brain activity are perfectly coordinated across thousands of light years. In the ship's main classroom, now expanded to accommodate 67 children from multiple species, 15-year-old Suman opened her eyes and looked directly at Hana through the security camera. Captain, we're ready. Please take us into the dead zone now. Hana activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, this is the captain. We are about to enter a region of space where no ship has ever returned. We're doing this because we believe these children can accomplish something that thousands of years of traditional exploration could not. She paused, looking around the bridge at her crew. If anyone wishes to transfer to one of our escort ships before we cross the boundary, now is the time. No one moved. Very well. Lieutenant Park, take us in. As Bright Future crossed into the dead zone, every system on the ship immediately failed. Lights went out, engines stopped, life support shut down, and artificial gravity disappeared. The crew found themselves floating in complete darkness and silence. But in the classroom, the children remained calm. It's okay, Nari whispered in the darkness. The zone isn't angry. It's just very, very sad. Slowly, a soft blue glow began emanating from the children themselves. The light grew brighter until it filled the classroom and began spreading through the ship's corridors. Hello, Suman said softly, speaking to something the adults could not perceive. We're not here to hurt you or take anything from you. We just want to understand why you're so sad. The response came not as words, but as a flood of images and emotions that filled every mind on the ship. Hana saw the galaxy as it had been 3,000 years ago. Younger, more chaotic, but also more alive. She saw a great experiment that had gone wrong, an attempt to create perfect order that had instead created perfect isolation. You were trying to help, Ian said gently. You wanted to make space safer for travelers, but something went wrong with the calculations. More images flowed through their minds. An ancient alien civilization had tried to create a region of completely stable space. No radiation, no gravitational anomalies, no unpredictable phenomena that could harm passing ships. Instead, they had created a region where nothing could exist at all. The builders didn't understand, Isul added. They thought chaos was the enemy, but chaos is what makes life possible. Taehyun floated closer to the center of the room. You've been alone for so long. You've been trying to undo what was done, but you didn't know how. The ancient intelligence responded with such profound loneliness that several adults on the ship began to cry. For 3 millennia, it had existed in perfect isolation, unable to create or destroy, unable to live or die. We can help, 10-year-old Nari said simply. We know how to fix broken things, but first you have to stop being afraid of chaos. What happened next would be studied by scientists for centuries. The children didn't fight the dead zone's influence or try to force their technology to work. Instead, they offered something the ancient intelligence had never experienced. Friendship. One by one, the children reached out mentally to the vast consciousness that filled the dead zone. They shared memories of playing games, learning new things, making mistakes, and trying again. They showed it the joy that comes from growth and change and unexpected discoveries. Chaos isn't your enemy, Suman explained. It's the reason beautiful things can happen. Stars are born in chaos. Planets form from chaos. Life grows from chaos. The ancient intelligence began to understand. For the first time in 3,000 years, it allowed randomness back into its perfectly ordered space. Stars began to flicker into visibility. Cosmic radiation returned to normal levels. The laws of physics resumed their natural functions. But the real miracle came when the intelligence began to create. New stars blazed to life throughout the dead zone. Planets formed in accelerated time. On some of those worlds, the ancient consciousness experimented with the concept the children had shown it, life arising from beneficial chaos. Dr. Lee watched her instruments come back online and stared at impossible readings. Captain, the dead zone isn't just becoming habitable. It's becoming more fertile than any region of space we've ever seen. New solar systems are forming at a rate that should take millions of years. The builder is happy now, Nari explained. It's been waiting so long to create things again. Throughout the galaxy, the restoration of the dead zone sent shockwaves through every government and military force. The impossible had been accomplished by children who had simply offered friendship to something ancient and lonely. Ambassador Velthar transmitted a message from the Hegemony High Council. The children have achieved in days what our greatest scientists could not accomplish in millennia. We formally request an audience to discuss cooperation. Admiral Kim's message from Earth was equally significant. Captain Kim, the Enhanced Children's Project is now classified as humanity's highest priority. Whatever resources you need, you'll have them. But the most important message came from enhanced children throughout the galaxy. Millions of young minds joined together in celebration, their abilities now connected not just to alien technology, but to the fundamental forces that shaped space itself. 6 months later, Hana stood in the observation deck of New Harmony Station, the first joint human-alien research facility ever built. It orbited one of the new worlds in the former dead zone, where children of multiple species worked together to explore the possibilities the ancient intelligence had created. Su-min, now 16 and officially designated as the galaxy's first child ambassador, joined her at the window. "Do you ever miss teaching in a simple colony school?" Su-min asked. Hana smiled. "Who says I'm not still teaching? I've just got a bigger classroom now." Below them, the surface of New Eden sparkled with cities built by human and alien engineers working from designs suggested by enhanced children. The architecture was unlike anything either species had created alone. Buildings that grew like living things, transportation systems that anticipated need, technology that seemed to think and feel. "Captain, there's something the children want to discuss with you," Su-min said. "We've been exploring the data streams from the ancient intelligence and we've found something interesting." "What kind of something?" "Other dead zones. Not here in our galaxy, but in distant galaxies. Ancient experiments that went wrong, leaving entire regions of space empty and lifeless." Hana felt her heart skip. "How many?" "Hundreds. Maybe thousands. All of them waiting for someone to offer them friendship instead of conquest. And you want to help them. We want to teach them what we learned from the builder here, that chaos and order can work together. That different species can create things together that neither could create alone. That children can solve problems adults think are impossible." Dr. Lee appeared beside them with her latest report. "Captain, the reproductive rate of enhanced abilities continues to accelerate. We estimate that within 2 generations, the majority of children in known space will have some form of technological empathy. What does that mean for the future? It means the galaxy is evolving into something completely new. A civilization where technology and consciousness work in harmony rather than conflict." Hana watched a group of human and alien children playing in the station's garden, their laughter echoing through the observation deck. Among them, she recognized the faces of the 5 children she had first rescued from Kepler 442b. They were teenagers now, but they still had the same wonder and determination she remembered. "Captain Hana," Nari called out, now 9 years old and leading a group of younger children in a game that seemed to involve communicating with the station's computer systems. "Come play with us." "The computers want to learn how to tell jokes." Hana laughed and headed toward the garden. Behind her, Su-min activated a communication array that connected to enhanced children across multiple galaxies. "This is Child Ambassador Su-min, calling all friends throughout the star streams. We have new friends to make and new problems to solve. Who wants to help us wake up some more sleeping regions of space?" The response came from millions of young minds eager to explore and create and fix things that had been broken for millennia. The galaxy would never be the same. And for the first time in its history, that was exactly what everyone wanted. In the depths of space, ancient intelligences in distant galaxies felt the approach of something they had never encountered before. Young minds that saw isolation not as safety, but as a problem to be solved with friendship and patience and the absolute refusal to give up on tomorrow. The age of enhanced children had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the evolution of consciousness itself. Hana Kim, former colony teacher and current admiral of the Enhanced Children's Protection Fleet, stood in her garden classroom and taught the most important lesson of all, that the future isn't something that happens to you, but something you create together. And throughout the universe, broken things began to hope for healing. Part 7. The Star Whisperers. 2 years after the awakening of the Dead Zone, Admiral Hana Kim received the most unusual distress call of her career. It came not from a ship or colony, but from a star system itself. She stood on the bridge of her flagship, Infinite Hope, studying the data streaming in from the Kepler 186 system. The readings made no sense according to traditional science. "Dr. Lee, explain this to me again," Hana said, pointing at the display showing impossible energy patterns. Dr. Minji Lee, now the galaxy's leading expert on enhanced consciousness, looked troubled. "Admiral, the star is dying. Not from old age or fuel depletion, but from something else entirely. The enhanced children detected its distress signals 3 days ago. Stars don't send distress signals, this one does. And according to the children, it's not the only one." Lieutenant Junho Park, now Captain Park and Hana's second-in-command, walked up with his own report. "Admiral, we're receiving similar readings from 17 other star systems. All of them show the same pattern. Stars that should be stable for millions more years are somehow fading." Hana turned toward the communication station where 16-year-old Sumin was working with a team of enhanced children from various species. "Sumin, what are you hearing from the stars?" The young woman looked up with concern in her eyes. "Admiral, the stars are scared. They're being attacked by something they don't understand." "Attacked how?" "Something is draining their energy. Not physically, but emotionally. Stars have feelings, Admiral. They feel joy when planets form around them, sadness when worlds die, excitement when life begins. Whatever is attacking them is feeding on those emotions." 10-year-old Nari, now one of the most gifted enhanced children, floated over in the zero-gravity section of the bridge. "Admiral Hana, the star in Kepler 186 keeps saying the same thing over and over. It says the emptiness comes, the emptiness feeds, the emptiness grows." Hana felt a chill run through her. "Dr. Lee, could this be connected to the other dead zones we've been finding?" "It's possible. We know that ancient civilizations made mistakes that created regions of empty space. Maybe one of those mistakes is still spreading." Before anyone could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Communications Officer Young Ho Nam turned toward Hana with urgent news. "Admiral, we're receiving an emergency transmission from the Hegemony Council. Ambassador Velthar is requesting immediate assistance." The main screen flickered to life, showing the alien diplomat's image. For the first time since Hana had known him, Velthar looked genuinely afraid. "Admiral Kim, we have a crisis that threatens all life in the galaxy. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected something approaching from the void between galaxies." "What kind of something?" "We believe it is a consciousness, an intelligence of vast size and power that feeds on the life force of stars themselves. Our scientists estimate it will reach our galaxy in less than 6 months." Dr. Lee stepped closer to the screen. "Ambassador, how do you know it feeds on stars?" "Because we have observed what it leaves behind in other galaxies. Complete darkness. No stars, no planets, no life of any kind. Just empty space filled with an intelligence that grows stronger with each system it consumes." Hana exchanged glances with her senior officers. "What do your scientists recommend?" "Evacuation. We are preparing to move our entire civilization to the far edge of the galaxy, hoping the entity will be satisfied with the core systems and leave the outer regions alone." "And humanity? We extend the same offer to your species. Join us in the evacuation. Perhaps together we can preserve something of our civilizations until this threat passes." Before Hana could respond, Sumin spoke up. "Ambassador Velthar, may I ask a question?" The alien diplomat nodded. "Of course, child ambassador. Sir, have you tried talking to this consciousness?" Velthar looked confused. "Talking to it. It is a force of pure destruction. What would be the purpose of communication?" Everything we've encountered that seems destructive has actually been something else. Lonely, scared, confused, angry, but not truly evil. Maybe this consciousness doesn't understand what it's doing. Young Suman, this entity has destroyed entire galaxies. The death toll numbers in the trillions of trillions, which means it's probably very sad and lonely. Imagine being so hungry that you accidentally hurt everything you try to touch. Imagine being so isolated that you don't even know other kinds of life exist. Velthar stared at the screen for several seconds. You wish to attempt communication with a galaxy-destroying entity. We want to try to understand it, 11-year-old Nari added. Everything that seems broken can be fixed if you know how to listen to it properly. And if you're wrong, if this consciousness is genuinely malevolent, Suman smiled with the confidence that only enhanced children possessed, then we'll figure out how to help it not be malevolent anymore. After the transmission ended, Hana called a meeting of her senior staff and the leading enhanced children. All right, she said, looking around the conference room. Let's assume for a moment that the children are right. How do we communicate with something the size of a galaxy that exists in the void between star systems? Dr. Lee pulled up her research on enhanced consciousness networks. The children have been expanding their abilities. They can now connect with intelligences across thousands of light years. Maybe they could reach something even further away. The problem is power, explained 17-year-old Hyun, now officially the galaxy's youngest xenotechnology specialist. To reach something in intergalactic space, we'd need to amplify our signal using every enhanced child in known space. How many children are we talking about? Captain Park asked. Current estimates put the number at over 50 million across all species, Dr. Lee reported. Their abilities have been spreading faster than we can track. 12-year-old Isol, who specialized in emotional pattern recognition, raised her hand. Admiral, there's something else. The dying stars aren't just scared, they're also excited about something. Excited about what? About us trying to help. They know we fixed the dead zone, and they think we might be able to help with this problem too. Taehyun, now 13 and focused on large-scale system analysis, added his own observations. The stars have been talking to each other about us. They're sharing information about how we healed the ancient consciousness in the dead zone. So the stars trust us, Hana said slowly. More than trust us, Nari corrected. They want to help us. If we try to communicate with the void consciousness, every star in the galaxy will amplify our signal. The scope of what they were proposing began to sink in. They wanted to create a communication network that spanned the entire galaxy, connecting millions of enhanced children with billions of stars to reach out to something that existed in the emptiness between galaxies. Dr. Lee, is something like this even theoretically possible? A year ago, I would have said no, but these children have redefined what's possible so many times that I've stopped making predictions. What are the risks? Unknown. If the void consciousness is truly hostile, we could be revealing our location and capabilities to something that wants to destroy us. And if we don't try, then in 6 months it arrives anyway and starts consuming our stars. Hana looked around the room at the mixture of human and alien officers, scientists and enhanced children who had become her family over the past 3 years. All right, let's try to save the galaxy by making friends with something that eats stars for breakfast. Over the next month, the most ambitious project in galactic history took shape. Enhanced children on thousands of worlds began practicing synchronized consciousness techniques. Stars throughout the galaxy were contacted and asked to participate in the communication attempt. Even the ancient intelligence from the former dead zone offered to help amplify the signal. The plan was simple in concept, but staggering in execution. Every enhanced child in the galaxy would link their consciousness together at precisely the same moment. The network would be amplified by every willing star system, then further boosted by artificial intelligences, alien technology networks, and the ancient consciousness from the dead zone. The combined signal would reach out across the void between galaxies to make contact with the approaching consciousness. Remember, Suman told the assembled children on the day of the attempt, we're not trying to fight this consciousness or stop it. We're just trying to say hello and see if it needs help with something. As the moment of contact approached, Hana found herself thinking about the journey that had brought them to this point. It had started with her refusal to abandon 5 orphaned children. Now those same children were leading an effort to communicate with a cosmic entity that could destroy everything they knew. All stations report ready, Captain Park announced. Enhanced children networks are synchronized. Stellar amplification systems are online. Ancient consciousness is standing by. Hana looked at Suman, who would serve as the primary communicator for the attempt. Are you ready? The young woman smiled. Admiral, we've been ready for this our whole lives. We were born to make friends with things that seem impossible to understand. All right then, let's go talk to the void. As 50 million enhanced children reached out across the galaxy with their minds, supported by billions of stars and an ancient consciousness older than recorded history, their message traveled across the emptiness between galaxies. It was a simple message sent with all the hope and innocence that only children could muster. Hello. We see that you're very hungry and very alone. We'd like to help if you'll let us. In the depths of intergalactic space, something vast and ancient and utterly alone received the first communication it had heard in millions of years. For the first time since it had begun its journey through the cosmic void, the consciousness that devoured galaxies began to wonder if there might be another way to ease its endless hunger. The children waited for an answer, confident that even something that ate stars could be helped if you just knew how to listen to it properly.